2006, we erased it from the family. For 76 years, we called Pluto a planet. Then we stripped away the title and left it drifting at the edge of the solar system. A dwarf, a frozen exile, a dead fragment lost in the dark. But when we finally sent a camera there, 4 billion miles into the abyss, what we found was not a quiet rock. We found a world of floating mountains, red snow, and a pale heart made from poisonous ice. This is the real story of Pluto. Imagine traveling for nearly 10 years through deeper and deeper darkness. As new horizons sped outward, the sun slowly shrank. The star that gives life to Earth became just another bright point in an endless black sea. By the time you reach Pluto, sunlight is weak and distant. At noon, the landscape does not glow with daylight. It sits in a permanent, frozen twilight under a sky that feels almost black. And then, in the summer of 2015, the veil lifted. There, on the surface of this remote world, was something no one expected. A perfect pale heart. Beautiful, bright, almost gentle. But it was not a love letter. It was a trap. That heart is a vast basin called Sputnik Planitia, a frozen plain nearly 1,000 miles across. It is made not of ordinary rock, but of nitrogen ice mixed with methane and carbon monoxide. And strangest of all, it may not be dead. Deep inside Pluto, a small amount of heat still rises upward. That faint warmth is enough to make the nitrogen ice slowly churn, convect, and overturn like an impossibly cold pot of boiling poison. Any crater that falls into this basin is slowly erased. Anything that lands there is swallowed by the ice and pulled into the pale abyss. It is a white sea that eats its own scars. At the edges of this frozen sea, the landscape becomes even stranger. If you stood on its shores, you would see mountains rising into the black sky. On Earth, mountains are built from rock. On Pluto, the temperature is so brutally low that ordinary water ice becomes as hard as stone. Those jagged peaks are made of frozen water. Some rise thousands of feet high, and they do not always sit still. Because water ice is less dense than the heavier nitrogen ice around it, some of these mountains may actually float, like giant icebergs drifting through a sea of poison. Imagine mountains the size of cities moving slowly across a frozen plain. This is not a dead world. It is an active one, and then there is the snow. If you looked closely at Pluto's highlands, you would find something deeply unsettling. Some of the snow is red. Weak ultraviolet light from the distant sun strikes frozen methane and triggers a chemical transformation, creating complex organic residues that drift back down onto the landscape. Over time, they stain the surface dark red, a frozen world, dusting itself with crimson fallout. For decades, we thought Pluto was frozen solid all the way to the core. But the physics of that great heart-shaped basin suggests something else. Something heavy must be balancing it from deep below. And one possible answer is the most astonishing of all. Beneath Pluto's frozen crust, there may still be a hidden ocean of liquid water, black, buried, and trapped under ice. If that ocean exists, then at the edge of the solar system, far beyond the warmth of Earth, there may still be liquid water in the dark. And wherever liquid water exists, the question follows: could anything survive there? Could anything move there? Could anything be waiting beneath the crust of Pluto in total darkness? We do not know. But when New Horizons looked back during its departure, it captured something unforgettable. Pluto was silhouetted in eclipse, and around its black edge hung a thin blue atmosphere, glowing in the sunlight. For one moment, the outcast world looked almost alive. Beautiful, fragile, and impossibly far away. But Pluto does not drift alone. Locked beside it is its largest moon, Charon. Charon is so large compared to Pluto that the two do not behave like an ordinary planet and moon. They orbit a point in space between them, turning together like a double world. And they are tidally locked. If you stood on one side of Pluto, Charon would hang there forever in the sky. It would never rise, never set. It would only watch. And Charon has its own scar. At its north pole lies a dark red stain known as Mordor macula. Material escaping from Pluto's atmosphere may drift through space, freeze onto Charon, and slowly darken its pole. Two worlds, bleeding into one another in the coldest reaches of the sun's kingdom. Around them, 4 smaller moons tumble through the dark. Nix, Hydra, Kerberos, Styx. Broken pieces of an ancient collision, spinning and wandering around this frozen binary system. So yes, we took Pluto's title. We called it too small, too strange, too unworthy. But Pluto did not become less extraordinary. It remained what it always was. A kingdom of red snow, floating mountains, buried oceans, and an ice-cold heart that still moves in the dark. It does not need our approval. It never did. Long after our arguments are forgotten, Pluto will still be there, continuing its silent dance at the edge of the solar system. Alone, cold, and beautiful in ways that should not exist. And beyond that silence, another giant waits. But that is another story.